what we have here is a Protoss versus Protoss. Good old PvP best of 3 and spawning. In the lower right hand corner of hard lead, we have Dragon Kite Seas, a herO. Just took down DRG in a banger of a match, but as a PvZ, his opponent just won a very sick PvP, so he's ready for the matchup. He's warmed up. He just took down Parting. It is none other than the stats man himself. Up here in the upper left. All right, Korean PvP. Now, normally, I would expect a Korean PvP to involve a lot of 3-gate robos, sometimes even proxy robos, one-base blink stalkers. That one pops up occasionally. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of PvP options. But Korean PvP in particular is usually very aggressive. That being said, we've got stats here. Now, I don't know. I haven't seen a ton of stats games since he's been back from the military. He has been looking quite good. He's had some solid results. But generally, I consider him to be a very defensive player, and I do not think this game is going to be any different. I feel like that hasn't changed. I feel like he still is generally pretty defensive, pretty reserved, not likely to be the one putting on huge amounts of pressure. But it's PvP. I feel like you have to have some sort of threat with that. We already see herO putting a pylon out on the map. herO is definitely the kind of player who can get very aggressive. What is this? What? Double Zealot? Oh, he's going to cancel that. Oh my god, he's so smart. He starts at the Double Zealot, so Stats thinks there's 2 Adepts or 2 Stalkers building. He doesn't know, right? And then he's able to put the Stargate down sooner because he spent no gas on those units. And then he just swaps one out for a Stalker, and he swaps the other out for a Stalker, and they're late, and he doesn't care because he's got a Stargate down. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Now, these Stalkers are coming out for Stats. I'm going to walk right by herO's pylon and kind of push out on the map. And there's honestly a very real chance he finds the Stargate. This is in a... It's in a position that you wouldn't necessarily think to scout because it's so obvious, but you might scout by accident because it's so obvious. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. So he's going to find this. Now, the 2 Stalkers are out for herO. So Stats needs to back up here shortly. Ooh, he's actually going to take a big hit. And this Stalker is getting very low. It is going to fall. However, they just trade 1 for 1 right now. That's going to go for a recall. Oh, man. Going to take a lot of damage on that Stalker right now. But he does see that it's a proxy Stargate. It's an important scout. Keeps the Stalkers back at home to defend. And, man, I'm talking about how Stats is going to be the macro player here and play defensive. And he's not. He is 3-gate roboing, and this Oracle's about to scout that. And suddenly herO realizes that he's up against a 1-basing Stats. Oh, that's so sick. Oh, that's beautiful. herO building a Phoenix. I am sure he's imagining he's not going to be able to get too many more units out of this. I would bet Stats is just going to go kill this pylon on his way across. So now the question for herO is, how does he defend on 2 gates? The answer is he already built a Robo and he's got an Immortal being chrono boosted out. That's absolutely the correct answer. Gonna warp in some Zealots to hang out in the main base in case that Prism decides to go hit over there. The 1 Phoenix is out. Now this Phoenix can be huge if it can get on top of this Prism. Or it could lift a Stalker, and sometimes lifting 1 Stalker is what really makes a difference. But I don't know if it's gonna make too much of a difference here, lifting that 1 Stalker. The shield battery gets taken down. The Sentry is gonna get tapped out. Phoenix is working on that Prism. Actually, it's taking quite a bit of damage here. Going down below shields. Stats, he's gonna kill that, but the Prism is so low, and now there's an Immortal out. And these Stalkers are gonna have to be very careful with this Immortal here. They're gonna go for a 1 Stalker kill. This Stalker could still kill the Prism, but Stats gets out of there. Prism stays alive somehow. However, herO, he has an Immortal out. He's a second one, 3/4 of the way done. These Stalkers are waiting in the main base, but I feel like they need to be down here right now. This is terrifying. As I say that, though, Stats is working his way around. He's got the Observer here. He's going to see the second Immortal come down. herO doesn't know where Stats is. Oh, and he scouts that there's a Nexus on the way. Oh, but Stats is going in. He's got the Sentry for the Force Field. However, herO, he was prepped for this. He kept an Immortal on the high ground, even though he gets Force Fielded out of the main. The Immortal up here is going to help him so much. Is it going to be enough? Ooh, looks like it's going to get taken out. And the Prism comes up, but the Prism gets killed. Oh, and herO. Oh, I think he's got this. He's got his own Prism. He's going to hold. Did he just lift up a probe? And now Stats is just trying to target down a few probes here. It looks like he does get 4. And by the time this is all done, all said and done, the supplies are actually almost dead even. Stats is a couple workers ahead. His Nexus is about to finish. herO's army supply is a little bit higher. And crucially, he does have an Immortal, but it's only one because he lost the other one. So that's kind of big. He lost one of the Immortals. And now it feels like Stats has a decent shot at holding the counterattack. Oh my god, this Stasis Ward. Oh my god. Whew. Oh man, but if these Stalkers retreat, he's going to die for the Prism. He's going to get the Prism. Oh, and now he's going to die for the Immortal. I think he might get the Immortal too. Ooh, yeah, he sure does. This Stasis Trap is still so scary. This is Stats like whole army. Oh, the Immortal doesn't get caught. Just the 2 Stalkers. The Adept's going to try to shade in, but they are locked out. Looks like this Immortal might go down. A lot of micro going on here, but again, at the end of the day... Oh my god, the shield! Is it going to save it? Oh, not quite. Just barely. At the end of the day, this ends up a very even game. It's kind of insane how even this is. The trades are so close. 300 resources different between them. They've both lost so much. Stats took the Nexus at the perfect time where herO couldn't out-drone him, or out-probe him, rather. And now we're just at like an even mid-game in a PvP. I'll tell you guys, this is rare. It's extremely rare to see a 3-gate Robo into a Nexus player that turns into just an even game at 8 minutes. It doesn't happen. It's not how PvP is supposed to work. I feel like this is such a Stats thing. Like, he won bases and is extremely aggressive, and then it just turns into an even macro game. Does look like herO's going to put some pressure on. He's got 2 Immortals in this Prism. Oh, he's going to drop on top of this Immortal. Guardian shields go up, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. There's no shields on that Immortal. Probe's getting pulled. The shield battery finally finishes, and herO will back up as the Stalkers come back down from the main base. But he killed an Immortal. It looks like he's going to keep both of his alive with the Prism. In fact, he's going to stick around and fight here. He's got a bit of an advantageous position. It does give Stats time to get another Immortal down. Again, at the end of that fight, this turns into a pretty even position. But herO does take a slight lead here in the worker count. As I say that, 2 Adepts sneak their way in to herO's base as the Immortal drop continues. And just like that, Stats is back into it with the probe count, getting 5 kills on herO's side of the map. Just when you think somebody's getting an advantage, it's like, well, actually, it's still a pretty even game. herO has one big advantage, and it is that it's 3 Immortals to 1. But interestingly, Stats has decided to go for Glaive Adepts, which means he thinks herO is depending too much on these Immortals. And actually, Glaive Adepts, they kind of manhandle Immortals. It's kind of sick. If you can get a bunch of Glaive Adepts out, the game gets real weird. Ooh, speaking of weird, we have a bit of a meetup in the middle of the map here. I don't think Stats wants to take this fight just yet, especially as these 2 Immortals show up. Glaives is only about halfway done for Stats. He needs to be real careful. And it looks like herO's going to hit the front. Stats was bringing those Immortals into the main base just in case he had to defend there. He's going to go back out here to the natural. The Adepts try to stop the other Adepts from shading in. Well, it looks like those Adepts will shade in. They will get taken care of pretty quickly by the Adepts of Stats, but a few probes going to go down nonetheless. herO seems content with the amount of probe damage he's getting done. He's just going to back up. Could take a third base. He's got a probe in position. Oh my god, this adept is so annoying. herO microing it too. God. herO saw that this Twilight Council was working, and he saw a lot of adepts. I have a feeling he knows that it's glaives. Especially considering he's got his own glaives almost done here. About 7/8 of the way done. But that Twilight Council is right at the front of the wall. Pretty terrifying here, as it might just get taken out before that upgrade is finished up here. Super Shield Battery turns on. Stats targets it down, but Glaze does finish for herO. That was a lot of damage from Stats onto a Twilight Council that finished the upgrade. Probe's getting pulled off the line. Stats is fighting into an overcharged Shield Battery. That fight started out well for him, but it is not finishing out well for him. However, he's going to get into the main base, and now it's Glaive Adepts versus Glaive Adepts. Genuinely a fight I'm not sure if I've ever seen before. As Stats retreats with his main army, but herO cleans up the Adepts in the main. He has pushed this army back, and he has taken a big army supply lead in a game that has otherwise been very even. It's going to be very difficult for Stats to come back in this game. He's trying to chase this army back, push it back. The Stalkers diving forward onto the Prism, but they're getting targeted down by the Immortals. They will not get the Prism kill, which means it is still here to do fancy micro as the Adepts show back up to help out and support this army. Stats, though, honestly took a very good trade there. Better than I had expected. His Immortals did get a couple of kill shots on herO's Immortals. This one's super low. There are a lot of Adepts coming across the map right now, and I don't think a Shield Battery helps Stats in this situation, because he's just one-shotting each and every Adept. The Immortal drops out. Yeah, that's just going to be GG, as Stats is doing damage on the other side of the map, but he can't kill the army anymore. And herO will take game number 1. Honestly, that game was insane. Like, genuinely, actually insane. I really feel like that goes to show you just how good these players are. That we had the 3-gate robo from Stats, and then herO was able to hold, but Stats was able to macro out of it, which, again, I feel like I never see a Protoss macro out of the 3-gate robo opener so well as Stats did there. And then just the crazy back and forth between them. They're both going for Glaive Adepts. Have you guys ever seen both Protosses with Glaives on their Adepts, and the Adepts are just fighting each other 1-to-1? It's not that interesting of a fight, really, because they just shoot each other faster, but I don't know that I've ever seen that. Glaive Adepts in PvP is already quite rare. To see both players get it is kind of insane. This is giving me big Stats is back vibes, though. herO's PvP is quite solid. And I feel like a lot of that was just excellent control on both sides. Some really fantastic fights. Let's hope we get similar action here in game number 2. Spawning in the lower right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have Dragon Kite's herO. Was able to take that game 1. Just barely. Honestly. It could have gone either way for the entirety of the game. But herO finally closed it out there. And of course, his opponent in the upper left-hand corner, it's Stats. Definitely one of my favorite Protoss players of all time. We need some Stats lulls in the chat. Does Stats still have a Twitch channel? Can we get a Stats lull, like better Twitch emote? Is that a thing? That emote is, that's one of the best StarCraft emotes out there. It is funny in Korean PvP, we basically never see anybody put a gateway down here on flat ground. Whereas even when Koreans are playing Europeans, or even like Estrella or Trigger or somebody, we will see them put gateways down here. It's really funny how differently they play versus like in the different PvP metas. I've seen herO put his base, put his gateway down here at the start of a game before, but not here. Not in this series. I mean, Korean PvP is so aggressive that stats went for one base last game, so. But it's pretty indicative of how crazy these can get. Now, herO opened last game with a proxy Stargate. This game, we're seeing a bit more standard play from him. It is going to be double Adept, though. So, potential here for a gas-heavy follow-up, or here it could go for that cool thing where you build like 8 Adepts and just try to crush through your opponent's wall. It's always fun, too. Here's Adept's going to make sure that this probe gets killed. Keeps the Stargate hidden, but also because that probe was wandering around the main base for so long, I feel like the Stargate's later than herO would have liked it. Not super late, but maybe a little late. Oh man, herO just gets a probe in though. He's going to see the Stargate of stats. He's going to see the Sentry as well. Stat Stargate even a little bit later because he spent all that gas on the Sentry. Adept's thinking about diving in here. Oh, that shield battery's not done. This Stalker is actually getting quite low, but gets back home just fine. One of the patch notes I did see for the upcoming patch is that the Sentry is going to lose that light tag, which is going to make it so much better at dealing with things like Adept shading in. Just in general, honestly, the Sentry got a huge buff, and like I'm kind of all right with it. Kind of fine with that. Sentry buff, I feel like I would have preferred maybe like a spell buff of some sort. I don't know. But maybe we'll see more Sentries in late game with Protoss. I think that would be really nice. I feel like Sentries are something that get utilized really well in the early game, and then like you have some for the mid game, so sometimes you'll see them utilized, but then like later on, it just feels like they're dead weight in an army. Sometimes you'll see like one in a big Deathball army to pop a Guardian Shield. It'd be cool to see them utilized a bit more. We did have the Oracle made on both sides here. Looks like herO's keeping his back at home. Stat sent his across, but no damage done on either side. Funnily, it's really funny to me that they both went for a Stargate and a Nexus, and neither of them went for Phoenixes. Again, if you're playing against like max packs and you go for a Stargate, you pretty much, you're locked into Phoenix versus Phoenix. But Stats and herO both, they're like, no. We're going into Blink after this. Straight into Blink, both players just on the same page. You'll love to see it. Wow. Insanely on the same page as they start up their third bases at the exact same time. All right, guys. All right, boys. I see you. So I guess we get a breather now. Blink is getting pretty close to done, so we might see the Stalker start to move out a little bit. But it's funny how passive this game has been. Basically nothing has happened. Looks like Stats canceled something. herO also canceled something. Stats canceled multiple things. That's it. That's the only difference. It is funny how in both games so far they've really been on the same page in a lot of ways. Yeah, I do wonder if they practice together. It's a very real possibility. Or they just... I mean, I think at this point, a lot of the Koreans, pretty much all of the Korean pro players just play together all the time. Whether it's in events like this, or the EPT Cup, or World Team League, or just laddering, or playing practice games and customs. So that's how you get the metas to develop a little differently from each other. It's just kind of fun, though. It's kind of fun when you see the players building the same things at the same time. Even some of the more non-standard things like glaives in that first game. herO is going for the Dark Shrine. This is a solid late game thing to do, go for the Dark Shrine, but herO hitting it a little bit early here. Maybe trying to see if he can sneak his way in. However, Stats' Robo is finishing up right now. And a lot of times, as players take 4th bases, they'll start to put cannons down, knowing that DTs are kind of an eventuality. Yeah, Stats already has a cannon in his natural and his main. He's too good, man. He's too smart. Too smart. However, Dark Strike can still be very good for, again, late game. If you get DT Blink, once you start getting bigger economies up, you get like 7 or 8 DTs together, or even like 3 or 4 with a group of charge lots. That can be brutal. 1 cannon, 1 shield battery does not hold that. They just get right in there. We'll see like observer speed be researched for players because that's the only way to keep up with DTs with Blink. It's fun. It's a fun interaction. Stats grabs an observer. Trade out a little bit of a stalker for stalker there. Stats is actually quite a bit ahead in Army Supply. DT is going to try to go in now. No cannon over here at the 3rd base. These probes are in some trouble. Uh-oh. We're in trouble. This DT's come to burst our bubble. Yeah, yeah. 6 probes going down. herO's going to recall this one, and it's going to die anyways. Oracle takes it out. The cannon's really helping there. A few probes do get taken out, but I have a feeling Stats is just going to, like, put down a cannon, like, right here. Call it a day. He's still way up in Army Supply. herO, though, has taken the worker lead. He might be able to catch up a little bit off the back of that. There's that DT Blink on the way, though. You'll love to see it. Stats trying to put some pressure on. His charge is done. herO's is not. Stasis Trap does catch a few of these Zealots. Stats is up like 30 Army Supply, though. That's actually kind of insane. Ooh, and he's going to catch these Stalkers a little bit. herO forced to blink away to an awkward angle. I think he's just going to try to blink down to the low ground away from these Zealots. But a few Stalkers getting left behind there. Stats taking some nice fights. It looks like he just wants to keep on pressuring here. I say confidently as he just backs up and stays in the middle of the map. Come on, Stats. Keep that pressure on. Make me look good. herO's like, all right, I got to hold, but I'm going to send a few DTs out. See if he can't get something done in this base. Stats, though, doubling down on the cannons and shield batteries, going to make it harder for those DTs to get in. But herO's Army Supply has caught up quite a bit. Sees these rocks being broken down. Stasis War going to try to catch some Stalkers. Ooh, it does. Just 4, but it does catch them. The DTs blink in. They're going to go ahead and kill one of the cannons and 3 probes, but they'll back out as the recall comes down for Stats. Ooh. Kind of an awkward engagement here in the middle. herO has a lot more supply here. Stats probably doesn't want to actually take this fight just yet. Yeah, he is going to lose just about all of this. Stalkers coming out of the Stasis Trap, and well, they'll do their best. Ooh, he almost gets the Prism with them, though. That would have been a sick alley-oop to those Stalkers popping out of the Stasis Ward. But now herO is counter-pushing. Army Supplies are very similar. This might come down to a bit of control. herO's +1 armor is going to finish here. This is actually a really nice timing for him since +3 is what Stats started up, and that takes way longer than +1 armor. So herO's just going to have an upgrade advantage. But you know what doesn't care about upgrade advantages, particularly armor upgrades, is going to be the Disruptors. They will just kill all of it regardless if they're able to get the connection. Let's see if he can get one. No, he cannot get that one. The second one does hit, but only a couple of Stalkers. Gets a few Zealots with the third one, but now Stats is on just a bunch of Blink Stalkers. Trying to blink backwards, however, the fourth base is getting hit here. The Prism gonna get sniped, but the Zealots all finish warping in. Disruptors looking for some big hits once again, but I don't think Stats is enough here. Look at that supply. herO taking a massive lead. The Disruptors just not getting the big hits they were looking for. And as herO blinks forward, it looks like he is gonna take the 2-0 victory over Stats. GG.